How does discrimination start? Why is it that some men grow up to become abusive? And why is it that some women grow up hating their appearance? I want you to think of a white piece of paper, a clean canvas. In time, this paper will get ripped, bald, may get stepped on, you may even waste food on it. However, in time, this paper will get damaged in some way. Now, in place of that white piece of paper, I want you to think of a newborn child. Blank canvas. In time, the parents will instill morals and values into that child that they believe are beneficial, but can actually be a hindrance to their future. Now, regardless of the way you parent, the way you react, respond, and interact with anyone plays a massive role in the child's life and ultimately shapes that child to who they will become. My 6-year-old daughter came to me one day and told me that she wants to teach me about slavery. My immediate thought was, oh, what can you teach me, or what do you know about slavery? Her words exact said, white people were mean, they hated us because of the color of our skin, and they killed black people. Now, this particular lesson caused her to look at white people or Caucasian people differently. Their viewpoint, someone else's viewpoints and frustration at a particular race were reflecting off of her. And I've worked with kids for years, and I've had the chance to see firsthand how a parent's or a guardian's behavior affects a child's behavior. The child environment plays a massive role in who they will be or the morals they will have. Children are like sponges. We have all heard that phrase. From birth, they are soaking up information from their environment. Exhibiting hatred to or around your child definitely rubs off. This is a learned characteristic. And the way you talk to your child becomes their inner voice. It becomes the way that they see and talk to themselves. I want to begin by discussing the influence parents have on their children. From birth, they are watching and learning ways to communicate and behave. I will start off by informing you on the small things children take from your behavior and make it their own. Have you ever noticed your little girl walking around in your heels or planning your makeup? Or maybe your son is walking around the house and doing daddy duties or manly duties. According to an article published by Learning RX, there are 4 cognitive stages for child development. The first being sensory motor stage. From birth to ages of 2, your child is learning about the world through senses and manipulation of objects, meaning your child is learning through eyesight, your child is learning through touch, your child is learning through smell. So what you exhibit and what you give that child, that is the behavior that they will pick up. The second stage being pre-operational. From 2 to 7, your child is developing memory and imagination. In this stage, this is where your child gets to memorize your behavior. So they take it and they make it their own. They take it and they use it in any sort of situation where it fits. The third stage being the concrete operational stage. From ages 7 to 11, children become aware of external events and feelings of others than their own. The fourth stage being formal operational. From ages 11 and older, children are able to see logic, to solve problems, view the world around them, and plan their own future. So as you can see, from birth to age 7, children are learning from their parents. The things you possibly dislike about yourself, your child can possibly be embodying. Emily J., author of Your Child is Like a Sponge, states that a child's mind is like a sponge, soaking up huge amounts of information from one's environment, absorbing everything around effortlessly and continuously. So it is vital that parents be extremely careful of their words and actions around their little ones. Secondly, let's look at how hatred can be taught. Another story is when my child I took myself and my child to a parent-teacher conference. I'm sorry, not a parent-teacher conference. I took her to another school to see if I can enter her into that school because of the diversity. And during one of the activities, she was encouraged to go and play with other girls. Keep in mind, my child was the only African American child there, and the other little girls that she was encouraged to play with were Caucasian. When she walked up to go and play, they stated, "You can't come in. You stay outside, and you be our maid." 4 years old. Where could the urge to treat someone differently because of the color of their skin come from? Tupac Shakur once said, "The hate you give little infants F's everybody." In the 21st century, discrimination is still very much alive. That's because for so long, children were taught to prejudge people due to appearance, their background, or the color of their skin. An article titled "Teaching Hate, Learning Hate" by Steve Hodge. He states, "Children happily play with one another, with other children of different races and religions until they are told not to. To hate specific groups of people, humans must be taught hatred." I want you to think of when you are driving with your child and you see a homeless person, and your first thought is to say, "He did that to himself," or to belittle him, or to downgrade him in some way, or in some shape or fashion. Your child is learning that behavior. So next time when they see a homeless person, they'll think the same thing. He's out there because of what he did to himself. He's out there because he's lazy. The things you say and the things you do around your child, they are soaking it up. Lastly, let's see how degrading or belittling comments affects a child mentally when growing up. The way you talk to your child becomes their inner voice. If you belittle them, they will grow up thinking less of themselves. Think back to a time where your child did something that bothered you and you responded out of frustration. How about when you give a command to go and clean your room and you come back an hour later and nothing is done? Your child may be sitting there playing video games or whatever they may be doing, and you make a comment and say, "You're lazy." Things like that stick to your child. Calling a child lazy or commenting on their weight can create insecurities all the way up until adulthood. According to Rachel Horse, depending on the tone of voice in which you speak to your child, or the way your sentences are phrased, the labels given to them can have unpleasant long-term repercussions. It's understandable. Children can sometimes do the opposite of what you say, or really, really frustrate you sometimes. But when you label your child, they carry those labels with them. Not only does it become their inner voice, but it becomes the way they express themselves to other people. It becomes the way that they respond to other people. Now, in conclusion, your child is a reflection of you. The way you talk to them, the way you behave around them, and the things you teach them, it shapes them into the person that they will become. Now, I want you to do one last thing for me. I want you to think back to your childhood, and then think till currently, adulthood. Think about the things that you want to fix about yourself. Maybe you have a potty mouth, or you lash out at times. Maybe you feel you can be more understanding and compassionate. Whatever it may be, these things did not happen to you overnight. They are what you call a learned behavior. So I said that to say this. Be careful what you do around your child. Be careful what you say around your child. They are watching. Thank you.